Hi there and welcome to my YouTube video. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to block a lace shawl. This is a medium experience level lace shawl. There's nothing really fancy about it, but it's an excellent sample to show how to block lace. It's basically garter stitch in here with some lace in here and a beautiful lace edging, but you really can't tell any of that in its current state. This has just been knitted and finished, and many people wear their shawls like this, but I want to show you how to block it to turn it into a piece of art. Big difference from how it started. The tools that I use are Dritz pens. These are quilting pens, and they are rust proof. If you're going to use pins for your blocking, you need to make sure that they're rust proof. I'll put a link to where you can buy those in the description of the video. I also use the blocking pins. You can find these in most knitting stores and online. I'll put a link to those also in the description. And I use yardsticks for measuring and for lining up straight edges. I use a cotton terry cloth towel to absorb extra water, and for this project I have a bowl of water. It's room temperature water. I don't have anything extra in the water, just plain water. So when we start, you're going to take your project, your shawl. I fold it up. Doesn't have to be super neat, but this just helps prevent over stretching it or misshaping it while it's wet. I fold it into a small piece, then I'm going to put it in the water. Now this is a wool shawl. Wool will float on the water. I've even tested it and let it sit overnight on the water, and it's still floating in the morning. So you do need to press it down into the water and allow the air to come out. You don't want to agitate it. You don't want to push it up and down, up and down. Just press it down till the air starts coming out, and then we'll leave it in here for about 20 minutes. It takes about that long for the wool to be completely saturated with the water, and that's what we want. If you want, you can put it in your bowl or your sink and leave it overnight. It's okay, but the minimum that you want to leave it is 20 minutes. I often put things in my sink and just leave them overnight, and then I block them in the morning. This is just one method for blocking. This is called wet blocking or immersion blocking. While I'm stretching it out and showing you how to make the lace look good, I'll talk about other blocking methods. So we're going to leave it in here for 20 minutes, and we'll be back in just a few. Okay, here we are. This has been sitting in the water for 20 minutes, and you can see it's very saturated. And when I take this out, we'll be able to see whether the yarn bled into the water at all. I have my towel here ready, and I also wanted to mention the mats that I'm using. These are actually gem mats. They're kind of like the blocking mats that you see for knitting, but they're much larger. The exact same material, and they're all one color rather than all the different colors. And I'll put a link to where you can find these mats or the name of them in the description of the video as well. So we're going to take this out of the water, and I just lift it, the whole thing in mass. I don't want to leave any of it draping behind. And I'm going to squeeze out the excess water. I'm not going to wring it, I'm just squeezing. Oh, and we can see it did not bleed into the water. The water's still clear. Now we're going to put it on the towel. We'll open it up a little bit, we'll unfold it. And we're just going to roll it up in the towel and squeeze on it. You can feel it. You can feel the water coming into the towel. You do not want to leave it in the towel for very long because it will pull out a lot of water and it will cause wrinkles in your knitting. So we're done with the towel. Now we're going to open this up. And we're going to put the point down. So we're going to put the top across here. So I generally start at the center. You can see the increase line that's going right here. So we're just going to start, we're going to put our first pin right up here. And then I want that line to be straight. And I'm going to stretch it. Let's move it up this way a little bit further. Now, you don't always want to stretch your knitting. In this case, you do. This shawl is intended to stretch when it's blocked. And the word blocking and stretching do not mean the same thing. Many people think that the word blocking means stretching. What blocking means is you're going to get the garment or project wet in some manner and then put it in the position that you want to be for it to dry. That's blocking. The manner of getting it wet can be steaming it, spraying it with a spray bottle, soaking it, putting a towel, a damp towel over it. Any of those methods of getting it wet will work, and then allowing it to dry. Now, this is where I'll use a yardstick, and I line up to see if that center line is straight, and it looks pretty straight. So I'm going to put some pins down the center just to hold it. This is like tacking to hold it in shape, because I'm going to be moving the sides, and this will keep the center from getting pulled to one side or the other. This is a long process. Blocking is not slow. You need to set aside maybe half an hour or so to do it. We're not going to take that much time to do this one, but I've blocked a lot of shawls. Sometimes I even have to respray it as I'm blocking it, because it'll dry out so fast. Now we're going to work across the top. We're going to put this one over here, and we're going to use some of these pins. And I'm just going to pull them up. I catch the threads, pull it up, line it up. And I'm using my yardstick again here as my tool for making a straight line. You do want to weave your ends in before you block your garment, because then they'll be sure to stay in. If you wait till afterwards, sometimes they tend to pop out. Blocking the ends woven in keeps them in that blocked shape. I'm going to move this, and you'll make decisions like I'm making right now, where you're going to make readjustments, because this is very fluid when it's wet. And I am stretching it. I'm not stretching it to the maximum that it'll be, but I am stretching it. Some people use blocking wires. I haven't been successful using them. I have a really hard time putting them into wet knitting, although I've tried because I really wanted them to work. I'm getting a little bit off course here. Trying to keep a straight line. Okay, so we've got this top edge. This is looking pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work out this way, and I'm going to start from here and go out to the center here. Now we can see on the outer edge that this is actually going to make some curves. We can see we have a zigzag design here. See this zigzag design? So we're going to follow the zigzag design and use those points, and I'm really pulling it out quite a bit here. This is where the pins will come in handy. And now I'm going to work to the center here. And let's get our other yardstick going. So we're going to probably want to pull this one back a little bit. I have other videos on blocking that you'll want to see, and I'm in the process of making a whole series of new ones, so if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, when I make a new video, you'll be notified right away. So I'm just intermittently, but I'm following the zigzag sign. I'm intermittently putting these pins in. I'll straighten them out once I get most of them in. Can you see how the lace is starting to show up here? And before we couldn't see that at all. The person who owns this shawl is going to be amazed. She loaned it to me as a sample for blocking. She has no idea how beautiful it's going to be. That's looking nice. Look how this is opening up here. See that? See how it's all closed in here? This is beautiful. So I'm just pulling, I'm finding the tips of the zigzag and pulling them straight out this way. When you look on Ravelry at people's shawls, you may see the same shawl blocked several different ways in how they do the edge, and it's always interesting. You can choose to do yours however you want. This is totally personal preference. It's looking good. So I work here. I'm just picking every other one right now, then I'll go back and fill in. Okay. Oftentimes I come back and make small adjustments after I've done the whole shawl to just make it more perfect. You'll see little things here and there that you want to adjust. That's okay. And you can even respray it and get it wet again if you want. Now, if you ever go to clean this shawl, like hand wash it, yes, you will have to block it again. You would have to do this every time after you washed it. So that's a good reason to keep your shawl clean. Almost done with this side. Wow, look at the difference between the two sides. It's just beautiful. Now we're going to work on the other side. Isn't that amazing? Okay, let's go over here. And we're going to work on this edge. First, I'm going to measure from the center to this point right here, the edge of the lace. And I get 27.5 inches. So we're going to come out here, and this is where we're going to mark for this edge to come to. So now we know we can just pull it straight out to that edge. So that both sides are the same width. And now we can just start pulling it up. I catch the edge of the shawl with the teeth of the blocking pin. We ran out of blocking pins. That's 2 boxes worth, in case you want to buy them for yourself. I actually have 3 boxes, but I didn't have them out right now. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our yardstick out here to give us a line, and we're going to start right in the middle and pull this out. And just intermittently pull the zigzags out. You want to start in the middle, because if you start at one end or at the other, you're going to get it all swayed this way or swayed this way, and then it doesn't look good. So that's why I start in the middle and go out, and then pin here, then start in the middle and work to the sides. This is so beautiful. The lady that owns this, her name is Kathleen. She's going to be just amazed. We take this away now. We have our line. Many times you'll finish a shawl and just not feel very inspired by it, and once you block it, it just turns it into a work of art, which this is becoming. Isn't this gorgeous? You would never have known from that little blob. Now once we get it all pinned out, then of course we have to let it dry. What I do is I put it in a room where I have a ceiling fan or a room fan so we can circulate the air, it'll dry faster. Where I live in Bakersfield, California, in the summertime I can put it outside and it'll be dry in about 10 minutes. But in the wintertime it might take overnight. So you want to put it in a room where you don't have pets that will get up on it. Sometimes that's a hard room to find. Your bedroom is good. You can just close the bedroom door. Some people block on their carpeting, but then you have to think about whether you're going to have children or pets in there. Also notice on my blocking board that I don't have a towel or a piece of fabric on it or anything. It's just right on the surface of the blocking board. I don't want anything that would absorb water because then it takes longer to dry. It's just right on the rubber surface. At home I also use styrofoam that is used for insulation. Now, we have an issue here. Can you see it? The problem is this is a curve here. So we're going to go like this. We're going to move this garter stitch so that we get more of a straight line. That helped. Let's go fix the other side. Much better. Same thing here. We're just going to stretch out the garter stitch more. I'm just running my hands over it and stretching it. That helps a lot. It's good to take a look at this from different angles, but I'm very happy with this. I think it's gorgeous. See, I can fix the other side over there. See, I've got this side here. Let's make this one fit it a little bit better. So we're going to leave this here until it dries, and then we'll be back and I'll take the pins out and we'll take a look and see how it looks. So we'll see you back here soon. Okay, so here we are. We've let it sit all night and it is completely dry. And it's important for you to check to make sure it is completely dry, whatever you're blocking, because if it's the least little bit damp, you don't want to take it up. It needs to be bone dry, which this is. So we're going to start taking these pins out. Really doesn't matter what order you take them out. And see what this looks like. This is the really exciting part. Now, you can see that it's pulling in a little bit when I let go of the pin. See that? That's okay, because we really stretched it out to its max. And this is to be expected. It'll still maintain its beautiful shape that we have. And I'm pretty sure this is superwash wool. Oftentimes, when you stretch superwash wool out to its maximum, it will continue pulling in for a little while. So this shawl will probably be a little bit smaller than this in the end. And it may take a week or two actually for that to happen. It won't happen right up front. So don't be surprised if your shawl gets a little bit smaller. Now, if it were non-superwash wool, this is the way it would stay. Exactly like this. It would not get any smaller unless you got it wet or, out in the rain, fog, a lot of humidity. It might change at that point. And again, as I said before, if you do wash this, if it gets soiled and you need to wash it, you will have to reblock it again. It might be worthwhile taking a picture of it at this point to see how it looks blocked, so you can remind yourself when you need to reblock it, or if you're giving it as a gift to someone, you can give them a picture. It's looking good. Oops. So here we have it completely unpinned, and you see it's light as air, just absolutely beautiful. Remember when we first started, this is how it looked. You can see it looks very dense. You can't see the lace design, and even if you pull it out, the pattern doesn't show very well. Big difference from how it started. I plan on making some more videos on blocking. In with my general videos, I plan to block a sweater that's knit in one piece as well as one knitted in pieces, so you can follow along and see how I do that. I hope you enjoy my video and you subscribe. The biggest compliment you can pay to me is sharing it with your friends, and hit that thumbs up button down there, and I love to hear comments from my viewers. So there you go. Lovely blocking. Happy knitting.